All right, let's learn Torah. Are we ready? Okay, here we go. So this week's Parashat. Oh yes, that was tonight. We are of course also. Sorry. Next Wednesday night is Yom HaAtzmaut, end of Yom HaZikaron, Yom HaAtzmaut. The yeshiva Dov Flatbush, and even if you don't belong to Flatbush, you can say you're Besser's cousin, is doing something amazing. I mean, I don't know who's sponsoring it, whatever it is, it's not about Baruch, I don't know who's doing it. It was decided that we should do more celebratory, you know what I meant by that, for Yom HaAtzmaut. So we are doing a whole evening affair, besides doing what we do here in the morning, Thursday, you know about this, Wednesday night. So please come. It's going to be in where we have graduation. What do you call that place? There, that's what it is. And no charge in terms of free admission. We're having it's in the Ford Amphitheater, like where the graduation is. It's like an amphitheater. Yeah. I mean, basically, Sweki was there 2 weeks ago, and it would cost you $100 a ticket. The Sweki, I mean, if you're Jewish, come. It's ridiculous. It's free. But it's going to be more than that. It's going to be the Flatbush Choir. It's going to be Tefillah. It's going to be a little bit of Yom HaZikaron first, Tefillah, and then a Sweki concert. Bring a sweatshirt.
What time?
8.
7.
No, 7?
I think it's
7.
7.
I'll let you.
Because they have to do the
Okay, 7-ish. But come early. It's going to be back.
Next Wednesday evening.
Okay. Okay, so I did all my announcements, and now let's learn Torah. Oh, we left. It's on the.
I'm going
Okay, but I'll tell you again next week. We have time. We have a class Wednesday, and it's Wednesday night. Okay. Okay, ladies, let's learn Torah. This week's Parashat is called Ahare. It's unique that they come. Usually, Ahare goes together with Kikoshim, but this year, because of the calendar, because of the leap year, they're separate. Actually, it's exactly how my bar mitzvah fell out. Exactly. I thank God only had to read Ahare. And that's all. Yes. Here we go. Shalom. Okay. So it's Ahare. The name is called Ahare. Why? What does Ahare mean? After the death. So by Daber Hashem el Moshe, Ahare Mot Shnei Bnei Aaron, v'karbatam b'fnei Hashem v'yamutu. There's a very deep lesson here that I'd like to talk about, and it's inherent in the name. So obviously, it's important to know that Nadav Abihu died, right? Really? How many Parashat ago did they die? 3. In Parashat Shemini. So why do we have to begin this Parsha by saying this is after the death? A lot of things is after the death, you know? It's like, you ask somebody how old he was. He goes, well, I was 21, 5 years ago. Okay, I got it, all right? So it happened. What does that have to do with us? Topic or theme of the beginning of Atonement. Does anybody know? Say it again?
6 o'clock.
That's not the main theme, though.
It might be, actually.
You know that I trust you so much that I just had a fearful senior moment. I'm saying, one second. If Jeannie says 6 o'clock, did I not understand what I asked?
I wasn't even listening.
I said, what's the topic of this week's Parashat? You said it was 6 o'clock. I said, 6 o'clock?
The 7:15 is Yom HaZikaron, and then after that, they start the Yom HaAtzmaut.
6 or 7?
שומעת אותו, אבל הדיבור שלו אני לא מבינה. Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, doesn't matter. What? Doesn't matter. Okay, bye.
I'll let you know for sure. I'm assuming it's 6 because Jeannie said so. Okay, so the topic, with all due respect, is not the Mishkan. The topic and the top beginning. There are 2 main topics in this week's Parashat. The beginning topic, which is almost half the Parashat, is about Yom Kippur. And what's the going at Shmini? Shmini was, yeah.
That's what
No, I'm here.
I thought you meant what it was.
Right, that was the Shmini. And this week is all about what the Kohen Gadol, as a matter of fact, we read this Parashat on Yom Kippur. The second half of the Parashat, believe it or not, talks about inappropriate relationships. We'll get to that later, hopefully. But, so what's the connection? So Rashi makes it a very easy connection. Who is the main person who does everything on Yom Kippur? The Kohen Gadol. He does really all of it. And he only comes into certain areas, which is Kodesh Kodashim, only once a year, guys. Only on Yom Kippur in the city. It wasn't allowed. So Rashi is taking it. It's a little strong. Rashi's taking it. Look what Rashi says. It's like, be careful, Aaron, right? Don't do the wrong thing. Because what happened? What happened? What happened in Nadav Avihu? They whatever they did something inappropriate, and they. So therefore, starting the Parashat by saying, Ahare Nadav Avihu, remember and be careful. Got it? Not enough for me. Not only not enough for me, but there's a Gemara that I always talk about, and we talk about it outside the content, and this is the week. Okay? Is there a connection between the death of Nadav Avihu and Yom Kippur? So the Gemara says something that always bothered me, and I always talk about it. This is the source.
That the death inside the
This is very, very scary unless we explain it. So I want to make sure we do. You ready? In Parashat Ahare, the beginning of Parashat, you see the English? Yeah, and that's we ask the question, why is it here? The Medrash, you see this sort of like at the 50-yard line. The Medrash presents the next step in the application of this same thought. Why does the Torah describe the death of atonement? To teach us that just as the day of atonement was given to us that we could be cleansed of our sins, the death of the righteous also cleansed our sins. This has to be understood. We just had Yaakov come, Rav Chaim passing on. What does that mean? It's he dies, but it's a kapara for me? How does that work? That has to be explained. So normally you would say something your rabbi says, well, look, it's based on this week's parsha. Which means, again, they answer, and why are we remembering that Nadav Avihu died before we start this parsha? Because this parsha talks about the Kohen on Yom Kippur, and that's the connection. So we have to understand. Ready? Anybody want to try? Okay.
Well, you would said in the past that we learn from their example so that we don't mess up.
Excellent. So let's take one step before. Somebody tell me, how does Yom Kippur work? So Yom Kippur, I am an avid sinner. I love to eat out in non-kosher restaurants. Why did I choose that one? Because I'm afraid to tell you the other one. But okay, yeah. I'm a Halal Shabbat. Beauty. I buy a seat, my wife and I come, I give $1,000 to the Torah, I'm clean. Is that how it works? Absolutely not. All the things we do. If I fast on Yom Kippur, I fast, I don't eat, don't drink. That's it, kapara? No. If I wear non-leather shoes, kapara? No. What's the
Have
answer?
to resolve to be better in the future.
And all of those things are inspiring me. They're impacting me, which means I have to go through a certain experience that would be impactful, which makes me a better person. That makes me want to be better. Hence, I get clean. Because what does teshuvah mean? What does teshuvah mean? What did God say? I give you a chance to return. I give you a chance to look back at what you're doing and say, I should not be doing this. I want to be better. And then I get clean. Agreed? Therefore, this parsha is very important. The death of great people or the death of anybody should be an opportunity for me to have a wake-up call and make me a better person. Hence, it is a potential kapara. Deal? Make sense? Or we don't like it? That's how I understand it. Because I can't understand the other. So this I understand, and I like it because it shows us to look at Yom Kippur. Any comments?
And that gives us something to think about.
Correct.
In terms of what you would do.
And therefore, I should be impacted. You see, you hear stories.
Hi, they don't have any records?
So I say, oh my gosh, I want to be remembered.
Hello?
They go like that, right?
Hi, Sonny. Please mute yourself.
No, it's not a phone. It's Zoom. Everybody all right there? Yeah, hi, Mayor. Sorry, guys, I have to socialize with everybody here. Okay, very nice. Okay, so that's that. Let's move on. And that's what we see. And therefore, I always quote before we go anywhere else. I have to like this quote. A few times in my life, I've had moments of clarity where the silence drowns out the noise and I can feel rather than think. And the bottom I always quote, please look at it, but let's go a little extra quote because there's a little extra word that I want to add. Who is talking here? This is Megillat Kohelet. Who wrote Kohelet? Shlomo. He's a very wise person. And he says, go better to go to a house of somebody who's sitting Shiva than to go to a party. Because the party, basically, you walk out, you're not happier than you were before. The only time you're happier is if you drank enough. But otherwise, there are things that make you think, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not that. Very nice. But look what it says here. Look in the first pasuk. Look how nice this says. V'asher hu sof kol adam v'hachai. Again, v'hachai. Everybody see it? Am I going too fast on the bottom? And the live person, what's the next three words? Yiten el libo. That's the goal. Yiten should take what just took place. El libo. Put it in your heart. It should get that. And therefore, it causes us to have a kapara, and that's the connection. Everybody got it? Next. Okay. The next one is something we talk about a lot, but again, I love the source. So it was a big deal. Yom Kippur is, right? Ask anybody in Jewish, surroundings. What would you say is that? If you ask what the holiest day, it's a little tough because what's holier than Yom Kippur? Shabbos is holier than Yom Kippur, halachically. But if you want to say what is the big day, Yom Kippur. Got it. Very nice. And then at the time of the Beit HaMikdash, it was basically the Kohen HaGadol that did all of the work. If you're strong enough to be still in shul at about 3 o'clock on Yom Kippur, that's like the killing hour. 3 is like the killing hour. 7 is great. You go, oh, hey, I left, I love it. Okay, but if you're at that point, that's in the Ashkenazi liturgy. I don't know about the Sephardic liturgy. That's where they describe everything the Kohen Gadol did, and he did a lot. Basically, did the whole thing. So look at this pasuk. This week's parsha, top of page 2. Let's do that again. English. No man. They don't mean just man. Girls, I'm really sorry. No person shall be in the tent of meeting, the place where he worked there, but when he did the stuff, when he comes to effect atonement in the holy. That means that everything that Kohen Gadol did that day, no one saw. If you were running this program, what would you do? If you're in charge, ladies auxiliary is in charge of running the Kohen Gadol job on Kippur, what would the vote go?
Put it on Zoom.
I would put it on Zoom for sure. I'd put 50 cameras around. And I would sell tickets, right? Sell tickets. Make a shoot. But would we not want people to see? Didn't we just say that we want to be inspired? To see the Kohen Gadol, right? Such a holy man on the holiest day, do things? Get everybody to get this, many people. Nobody. What do we learn from that? So I want to give you a twist on Siniyut. If I would have walked in, but not you guys are very good. I walk into any women's class and I go, okay, ladies, I want to talk about Siniyut. You sort of like feel the cringe in the air. You feel it. You feel it. You feel like that. So I'm going to give you a twist on Siniyut from a pasuk that says Siniyut. Where does it say Siniyut? I'm going to show you. Here we go. So the pasuk is in Micha. Oh, so here's the question. Okay. Micha, very nice. This is one of the, by the way, I have this at home. If you want, you can get this written someplace. This is probably I said that before. This is one of the most important psukim in way of life in Judaism. It's a beautiful pasuk. He has told you what's good. Ma Hashem doresh mincha. Right? What does God want from you? I love this. What does God want from you? I'm sure you have relationships that you said, what do you want from me? Right, so here it is. This is what God wants. Asot mishpat. What does that mean?
Justice.
Right? Be a fair person. Be a straight person. Don't lie. Don't be a sneak. Don't be a sketch. Ahavat chesed. Love that, right? Love chesed. Pursue chesed. And the big word, there it is. Ready, ladies? Ready for cringe? Vehatsneya lechet in Elokecha. Hatsneya, tsanua, be a tzniistic person. So if I say tzniut to you, what's the first image that comes to your mind? Moshe, beautiful. She's great. I don't mean a person. In your life, I say, girls, we have to improve tzniut. And the image is? Clothing, right? Clothing. Right? So let's take a look. I look up on Wikipedia. Listen. Don't get choked up about tzniut. Wikipedia, tzniut description. Tzniut includes a group of Jewish laws concerning modesty, both dress and behavior. Very nice. Dress. The principal guiding point of tzniut in regard to dress is that a Jew should not dress in a way. Okay, very nice. Okay. I'm not doing that tzniut today. Not that I don't want to. We've done stuff like that before. I don't know if you guys remember. You don't remember? I can give a class on tzniut. I'm not that comfortable about everything about tzniut, but that's not where I'm going right now. We can just say that tzniut is applied to men and women equally, and it's applied to any behavior that draws attention to something that's not a Torah value. How's that? Is that fair? Is that nice? That's it. Which means lack of tzniut means drawing attention to something that's not a Torah value. That's it. Very good. Thank you, Tully. Yeah, that was me. Very good. Good. I want to do something else. Let's go back to this pasuk. Is there a break, which means is it imasot mishpat avat chesed vehatzlei alechet? So is tzniut the third item, or is tzniut modifying the first two items? Oh, nice question. Do you understand what I just asked? How do we read this pasuk? Is it God wants three things from you, right? Asot mishpat, avat chesed, and what? And be tznius, or maybe not. So I'm going for maybe not. And where I'm getting this from? We're going to learn a piece of Gemara together. Are we ready? Number 6. So the Gemara says, is everybody following? Are we good? We're good? Okay. The Gemara says, Asot mishpat zehadin. You guys following me? I'm on the bottom here. Right? The Gemara elaborates. Asot mishpat, to do justly, that's deep. That means you got to what? You got to be a fair person and do things right. Don't steal. Don't lie. Avat chesed, ze gemilut chasadim. Good. Be straight and do chesed. Hatzneya lechet, ze hotzaat met, go to funerals, ve'achnasat kala, and go to weddings. Whoa. Let's do that again. Tznius means go to funerals and go to weddings. Tznius. Says the Gemara. We're not done. Halod varim kal v'chomer. Everybody know what a kal v'chomer is, right? Everybody knows? Yeah. Ma dvarim she'ein darkan la'asotan b'tzina. Things that normally you don't do without people seeing you. Funeral, people are going to see you, right? You see people. Weddings, you're not doing it alone, right? You're seeing people. So ma dvarim, things that normally you'll have a lot of people around, right? We say to you what? Keep it down a little bit. You know what's going on? You know what the Gemara is saying? The Gemara is saying that tzniut is, yes, this tzniut, but it's referring to the first two. When you do chesed, are you doing it so everybody sees you? Oh, yes. Of course, okay. She's got her heartbeat. When you're doing mishpat, right? I'm a straight person. Is it only when everybody is watching you? Look at this. So the Gemara is saying that the pasuk is saying, not only be tzniut with what? With your clothing, be tzniut with your mitzvah. Now it's interesting, they say about Nasat Kala. I have to tell you, this is not a bad thing. It's interesting. You know that we have in our, I don't know how to say this, in the weddings that our family, everybody, I mean, my circles, basically the Chatan and Kala are on two sides of the Mechizah. Only at one point they bring the Kala over and we have people dancing. And we dance in front. Our goal is to make the Chatan and Kala happy. That's the goal. I don't know if you've ever seen this. They bring the Kala over and the Chatan and Kala sit and people do weird dances in front of them. Have you ever seen that? They throw torches, they do a whole bunch of things. And you're thinking, like, this guy's doing this. Okay, is he doing this because everyone's standing around watching him do it? Or is he doing this to make them happy? You understand? A little both. It's very difficult to really be totally altruistic when people watch. Is that a fair statement? And that's why they said, because really you're supposed to be doing it for the Chaskala. and know there are many people, so it's so hard. It's so hard. That's what I say. Funeral. I mean, please don't look at me like I'm nuts. I've been asked to speak at funerals. I know people are watching me. I want to make a good speech. I'm really supposed to be focusing on the person that passed away. That's why I'm making a speech. I'm doing a hesed for the person, but you can't help yourself when there are 4,000 people watching you, and you want to make a good impression. It's a challenge. It's a no pashut. It's a no pashut. I'm not down. No, but that's why the pasuk, and that's what the Torah is saying. That's what the pasuk is saying. Want to see something beautiful? How did the pasuk end? Why did I leave the thing there? How stupid am I? How did the pasuk end, girls? Hatznei alechet, ina lokecha. It's you and me, God, babe. That's it. That's really the way to go. That's the way to go. Just you and God. And how you doing? And what you do. So now I have my answer. What's my answer, girls? On the holiest day of the year, the holiest person needs to do the service in the highest possible level that he could. So what are we doing? Shut down the meeting. Nobody watching you. Sorry, Kohen Gadol. No one. Because think about it. You said it's human nature. I'm not blaming the Kohen Gadol. The guy's got to be a malach not to be affected. I can see his wife combing his hair before he leaves the house. Honey, everybody's watching you. Don't do something stupid. But if no one's watching him and he's still doing it perfectly, that's not
More marriage, then it just seems
sorry?
it's more marriage.
Much more merit, yes. Okay. Fair answer. How do I know I'm right? Because how do I know it's a good idea? Because in the past, I will give you 4 examples, but it's 4 people, 3 examples. Avot, Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, and Yosef. We're going to find or identify the one, if not the highest moment of Avodat Hashem in their life. Come on, Abraham and Yitzhak are easy. It's the Akedat Yitzhak, right? Hands down. When they went to the Akedat Yitzhak, you flip the page now. We're on page 3 already, so you feel good about yourself. All right, I saw a nice little saying. The best sign of a healthy relationship is no sign of it on Facebook. Okay, here we go. וישכם אברהם בבוקר, ויחבוש את חמורו, ויקח את שני נעריו איתו. He took people with him. Of course, he took Yitzchak, but he did take 2 people with him. Anybody remember who they are? We've done this. Ishmael and Eliezer. Another discussion, not for now. And they're going. Good. And he comes to the place where God told him to go. He sees the place. Hey, Vayomer Abraham El Na'arav. Now, I don't know if this was his own initiative or God said, lose the boys. I don't know. I'm not planning to know that it was him. Either way, it proves the point that we want to make. What did he do? Vayomer Abraham El Na'arav, Shvu lachem po im hachamor, va'ani ve'anar nelcha. Why, girls? Why? If he took them for a reason. Now think logically, guys. So obviously he needed 2 people with him. Why not make the whole party go? Nope. Because this is going to be a high point in his Avodat and Yitzchak, both, right? No, it's a sacrifice on both. Actually, Abraham was going to come back. Yitzchak was going to, right? Nobody there went. You know the famous joke with the priest? Come on. Yom Kippur. So, I mean, the rabbi knows the priest. The rabbi in Yom Kippur checks out and he goes to the golf course. And the Malachim are telling God, look at this rabbi. He's such a famous golf course on Kippur. All of a sudden, he hits a shot, best shot in the world. He's a hole-in-one. So the Malachim said to God, you give him a hole-in-one? He goes, this is the best. Who's he going to tell? You can't tell anybody. Yeah. So it's the same concept. There's no news media of that, right? Because that's the way God wanted. Proof, fair. Yaakov's probably on a spiritual level, biggest victory was the Malach, struggling with the Malach. You guys remember that? He got hit. You guys remember how that story started? Look at 25:8, where it says number 8. Vayivater, and watch. And the Torah sort of is pointing it out. Vayivater Yaakov, what's the next word? Levado. Again, because for him to be on that level, nobody's watching. And then, of course, the famous story that we talk about all the time. Yosef's highest point, which we talk about a lot, is Potiphar's wife. We know about that. And no one was home, and no one was recording this, and no one knew, or at least, I mean, we all know now, but no one knew that he was able to control himself with Potiphar's wife alone. So I rest my case. So I do believe, in my humble opinion, that is the reason that this was Parashat Navodat Yom Kippur. Hashem wanted no one watching the wedding. Got it? A nice little story. Rabbi Yochanan, on the bottom of page 3. Rabbi Yochanan was a very, very famous rabbi, and he was ill. He was about to pass. His pupils, this is Gemara and Brachot, for those who his pupils visited him and asked him for a blessing. Now, you would assume that, the big blessing, the big rabbi, right before he passes away, like, what's the blessing? With his dying voice, the rabbi said, I pray that you may fear God as you fear me. I love it too. I just don't do it, but yeah, I love it too. Yeah, this is what the rabbi said. That's the highest level you can actually get to be worried about God as much as you worry about somebody else. And then they said, what? Explain to the pupils, right? He said, I should be well content. If you're able to do that, that'd be fantastic. Okay, so that's the lesson. Nice. Okay, page 4. All right. There's another very famous 2 words. We talk about this, but there's a new insight that I want to do, and then we'll get something else. Okay, let's go. There are 2, we do sometimes have to, you don't have to, you're right. Some others have to remind themselves that our life as a Jew is dictated by a word in the Torah. So there are 2 words, actually it's really 1 word, 1.5 words, that are mentioned in this week's Parashat that really affects and changes a lot of things in our life. So it's Shabbos morning, and the rabbi or the candy man is giving out candy, and a kid takes the candy, and he starts to choke. What do we do? Pick up the phone and call Hatzal. What? That's Halal Shabbat. Who told you to let me alone? Who told us? Right. Which means we have to understand that decisions in Torah, decisions as a Jew, are not made by Moab. They're made by Torah. Torah clearly says you can't do a melacha on Shabbat. You can't take out your phone on Shabbat. Open and shut case. It's one of the 39 melachot. I want to now take out my phone and call Hatzal. Where is my basis? On what? But the kid's going to die. Okay, I hear you. What does God say? Let's ask God. This week's Parashat. On the top of the page, which my tenants God says, observe my statutes and ordinances. Asher yaseh otam adam, that a person will do or should do. V'chai, girls, a word. V'chai bahem. What does that mean? V'chai bahem. Live with the mitzvot. Says the Gemara. From here we learn, live with the mitzvot, but not die with them. Mitzvot were not given to us to die for. Except for a few, we'll get to that in a minute. Amazing. Big word. So God gave us the right to take out the phone. Now understand it goes even further, and I'm going to go into it today a little bit. Not only does it become now what? Okay, it now becomes a mitzvah. You follow? You know what the Gemara says? The Gemara says, Shoel, if somebody hesitates and asks a question about pikuach nefesh, about saving the life on Shabbat, harehu shofech damim. He's a murderer. When mommy was told by the doctor, my mommy was told by the doctor she has to eat on Kippur, she didn't want to eat. I said, good, so you don't sin for 25 hours? No, but that becomes the sin. What makes a sin a sin? God says to do it or not to do it. If God says do this and you do that, you're going against the Torah. So it's not like, okay, we're stuck with it. You're not supposed to look for, I love Goyim, but he would say, the kid's joking, maybe you will get the superintendent to do it, or you get no. You run for the phone. But because of those 2 words, got it? Very big. Let's read. As it says, my statutes, Hashem, there are 3 exceptions, but we're not doing the exceptions today, except for 1. And they are Avodah Zarah, Shvichut Damim, and Gilui Arayah. And that's a whole, anybody whose kid is the Flatbush learned this as a sugya. I think it was actually last term, or 2 terms ago. It's a whole Gemara that one has to give up their life for 3 sins. Avodah zarah. Everybody knows what that means, right? The riyayot, an appropriate relationship, and shvichut damim. We're going to get to it, but that's fine. Now, by the way, how do you know that those are exceptions? Because we learned it from a place. But we'll get to that. I want to try something else. Can somebody go back to the pasuk and tell me what Rashi says? V'chai b'hem. Go. First 2 words, no? In Rashi. Le'olam haba. What's he talking about? I mean, no, I didn't do this, but we're going to explain. Do you understand that doesn't make sense? What did we just say? God wants us to what? To live. To live where?
In this world.
In this world, right? No?
Yeah.
So you're allowed to what? You're allowed to be Mechalel Shabbat. You're allowed to eat tacos. You know, years ago, they used to, the tapel, no? They used to take care, a person with heart conditions with certain pills that were covered in gelatin. They were nitro pills. They were called nitro pills. Anybody remember this?
Nitroglycerin,
Yeah,
right.
but they were originally, they were put in like little gel, I said the gel things that they sell for aspirin is not kosher. You should double check.
And the person had to carry it on Shabbos to keep.
Yes, yeah, I'm just saying for us, just a side chart. Some gel caps are not kosher, you have to check. So they used to put the nitrate pills in gel caps. The biggest rabbis would eat them. Why? Because save your life. Your life is more important. So what is Rashi saying? We're not talking about Olam haba. Yeah, Olam haba is important, but that's not what this pasuk is talking about. Is that fair? Is that a fair question? Good. Leave you hanging to the next week. No. Okay. Where's Rashi getting this from? He's getting it from the Targum Unkultus. Okay, middle of the page. Does everybody know what that means? Targum, was it Targum?
Explanation. Not translation.
Translation. Unkulus? Anybody? Jewish history? Gary? No?
It was a convert.
He was a convert. Unkulus. You got it. No? He was a Roman. Okay, fine. So he wrote a thing, and as a matter of fact, when we say, the Gemara says that you're supposed to learn the Parsha, I'm not pushing you, it's okay, you can do English, it's called Shnayim Mikra, Vechad Targum. And like people who are insistent on that custom actually read the Unkulus, which is kind of strange because nobody understands the Unkulus, which is in Aramaic. So, you know what that's like, by the way? I told all my students that hopefully they told their parents. I asked the student, what happens on Erev Pesach? Your father or mother lights the fire, and what do they go? They go, say the prayer. I said, what prayer? Kol Chamirah. Kol Chamirah is not a prayer. It's in Aramaic because they wanted the people to understand it. Kol Chamirah is a financial statement. Any chametz that's in my house, you know the one that you know that instrument that you hid because you don't want your husband to see it, and you know that's in the back of the closet. So any chametz that I forgot, I don't want to. It's a financial statement, and they made it in Aramaic because they spoke Aramaic. So today we say it in Aramaic, nobody understands what we're saying. So you go, no, let me know. But what are you crying about? It's nothing to do with it. You're not talking to God. So this is similar. Targum was made Targum in Aramaic because people spoke Aramaic. So you're going to read in Aramaic, you don't know what you're talking about. So halachically speaking, you have my okay to read English. So if you want to do Shnayim Mikra V'Chad Targum, you do twice in the Chumash and once in English. But the question still stands. So he got it from Targum. So let's take it. Targum translates the verse as you should live through them in the world to come. In other words, the verse is not telling us to stay alive in the life of mitzvah because life is more precious than mitzvah. But that's the most precious thing in life. It's keeping mitzvah. Does it bring us to Olam haba? Can I explain what's going on? God is saying your life is more important, right, than the mitzvah, right? So let's take a step further, says why is your life so important? That's the most important part of your life. That's the key. So Rashi and Ugla, I love this, are saying, Le'olam haba, because now you can increase your mitzvah. You can't do mitzvah anymore. So what's the point? Which means that no matter what a person's, and this is not easy, no matter what a person's state of life is, as long as they're still alive and able to function, their life is very precious. We don't stop the person. We don't pull the plug. We want to pull the plug about people who are not conscious. We discuss that. We don't. But definitely not if somebody's functioning. Another mitzvah, another mitzvah, another mitzvah, another mitzvah. Every second can be a mitzvah. The Gemara says, afilu, not sayid, afilu cherev munach al tzavaro, even if there is a sword on on a neck, which is metaphor, right? You should not leave yaesh min harachamim. So most people learn it that God can still save you. I heard a beautiful pshat from the Hasidic rabbi. He says, even if you are totally incapable, chesed you can still do. You can make a smile. I'm in the hospital with 52. I can smile at the nurse. I can go like this. That's a chesed. That's another chesed. That's another mitzvah. After that, there are no more mitzvahs. It's such a beautiful thing. So therefore, v'chai b'hem means understand that your life is precious, but your life is precious not because you make the best chones and the best food in the world, not because you bring in a tremendous amount of money to your family, because you can do mitzvahs and you can increase your whole life. Yeah, I like this. What are you going to say? No.
The thing with Hiskiah was terrific. He was told he was going to
Right.
but he didn't give up hope, and he prayed, and he got another 15 years.
Right. I'm working on that. Yeah, got it. So that's the Olam Haba. And therefore, I'm just touching this. There is a frightening increase in the world and in the Jewish community of suicide and suicide attempts. It's frightening. Oh yeah, frightening. Prevalence of suicide in our society has been gradually rising. In fact, according to recent data, I don't know if this is true, this is kind of about, I think that doesn't mean it's not true.
When you say society, what do you mean Orthodox?
Everywhere, across.
I mean, like everyone.
The world itself, and unfortunately we've been affected by the world. I have to tell you, okay, you might disagree, you disagree, this is totally Besser saying. I think you all know my peeve about phones and about communication. The more people see things, right? These TikTok stuff and stuff, it just implants stuff in people's minds. That's what I feel. I feel a lot of this stuff becomes more prevalent because people see it, and when they're stuck in a situation, the mind automatically. That's totally Besser. You don't have to agree, but I think it brings. I remember there was a kid. How many years ago was a movie about surfing on a car? Surfing on a car. Car is driving. He's surfing on a car. Okay, I'm not like Mr. Perfect. You gotta be an idiot. I don't know, what are you, an idiot? Okay, so the kid did it on Ocean Parkway, he fell and he hurt his head very badly. It's like, so I asked him, I'm like, what are you thinking? And you're not thinking because you see it looks cool, it looks what you do, Whatever. Okay, so yes, there is an increase in suicide. Okay, so let's go to the other page. The prohibition of suicide is based on a verse in Genesis, right? So this is a pasuk that says on the top of page 5, and surely your blood of your souls I will demand. The Gemara says, the Besser says, interprets this verse as meaning, and surely from your souls, I will demand your blood, I will hold you liable for taking your own life. Okay, what I would like to add, girls, is that if we go back and say, yeah, that's good, it's pasuk, okay, but we should tell a person, no matter what it is that you're up to in life, I lost everything, I lost my money, I lost my family, I lost everything. And I understand that, I'm not judging, but we can turn to say, and if he believes in God, he obviously has to go with that. You still have the ability to do another mitzvah. Every minute is another chance to do a mitzvah. Don't throw it away. You never lose that possibility. So to me, that's a little bit of the counteracting of suicide, which means a person's life is valuable for every minute that he lives, because that's always doable, no matter what matzah you're in. Fair? You guys are very quiet today.
Well, this is a serious topic.
Oh, okay, yeah. I can't stay serious too long.
So.
All right. Flipping this a little bit, going back to what I told my mom, there's a great phrase. It's a 2-word phrase. It's called Chasid Shoteh.
Yeah.
Now, Shoteh is not with a taf. That would mean the Chasid drinks, which could be true also. But Shoteh is with a tet. What's Shoteh with a tet? A foolish, like shtu. Says, I'm sorry? Shtuyot. So the Mishnah in Sotah, Rabbi Yeshua mentions a number of people who categorized as these destroy the world. One of them is a Chasid Shoteh, a foolish righteous person. Our Gemara defines the term by giving the example of a man who sees a woman drowning and reacts by saying that as a religious person, it is inappropriate for him to look at her, and even though that is the only way to say it. So he's called the Chassid Shote. You guys remember the story with Suri Feldman, the joke? I'm going to make my jokes, it's not so serious anymore. Suri Feldman, many years ago, was a girl in a girls' high school in Muncie who got lost in the woods. You guys don't remember?
Yes.
It took Hatzalah 3 days till they found her. So the joke goes, why did it take Hatzalah in Muncie 3 days to find Suri? Because they were looking like this. Okay, yeah, so he's a Chassid Shote. I'll take the question in a minute. Why am I applying this? Where else does the Rambam say? Let's go back. Torah says you're not supposed to fast, and you fast, you're a Chassid Shote. It's not like I want to get extra credit. No, you're a Chassid Shote. That's not extra credit. You're a foolish Chassid. If the Torah says don't do something that's dangerous, right? Even though I'm not doing this today, this whole discussion, can you do dangerous something to save somebody else's life? That's the discussion, because life is precious, because God said, your life is precious to continue. Okay? Yes?
I was just saying, my father always called it Chacham Balayla.
Oh, Chacham Balayla, that's if it's Israeli? Chacham Balayla, yeah, that's you're right.
It's the same time.
Yeah, but this scene is stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I love this next thing. I'd love for you to share this with your whoever you want to share. Okay? So we learned, this is very, very powerful if you've never heard this, but you have to stick with me. So we learned that if I'm faced between doing a sin and doing a what? And doing my life comes first, right? Except for the 3. One, we said that you can't do anything without directive from Hashem, just like the Chayyim is a directive. So therefore, if you want to now change it, you want to say you have to give up your life for Avodat Zarah, what do you have to do? You need to find a source. You guys with me? So where in the Torah does it say that for God I have to give up my life? That's the source.
Action.
God, happy. What about the other 2? So I'm not going to sit in a program. I just don't have patience and time now. Too long, we'll leave it out. So let's get the case. Again, your kids learn this. Somebody comes to Besser, puts a gun to their head, and it has happened in World War II, unfortunately. Kill that person, or I will kill you. Right? So I want to save myself, right, by killing him. Nope, sorry. I have to give up your life and not kill him. Everybody got it? Where in the Torah does it say that? So I'm going to do the old Rabbi line. I will give you $1 million if you can find the pasuk where it says it in the Torah. And clearly, it doesn't say it in the Torah because I would never give you $1 million. So, there we go. Says the Gemara, murder. The exception of murder is derived by logic. Wow, not a directive from God. The Gemara says it's logical. It's obvious. Why is it obvious? It happened with Rabbi. A man came to Rabbi and told him that the governor of the city had ordered that he slay a certain man or himself suffer death. And Rabbi said to him, rather than slay another person, you must permit yourself to be slain. I said, you should remember this from your Gemara final in my days. Your red blood, red, right? For how do you know that your blood is redder or more red than his? Okay, can you look at me? It takes a little bit of a ditch, but it's an amazing concept. There's a guy sitting there. I'm told kill him or else I get killed. So normally we say what? Normally we say die, right? Normally we say die, right? Don't die and save a life in order to not get killed and therefore do a sin. That's what we say normally. Let's do it again. Be mechalel Shabbat to save a life, right? So what do you want to do? You want me do the sin of killing him in order to save a life. But I'm not saving your life. He's dying anyway. Got it? So what am I doing? I want to save my life over his by doing the sin. Who said you were more important than the other person? Who said that your blood is more red than the other person? And that's the halacha. I have to die because of that logic. So Rabbi Ovadia Yosef is standing there. And I'm told to shoot Rabbi Ovadia Yosef. And I am Joey the jerk. Right? I No, I'm sorry. I'm Chacham Avada, and then joining the church. Why do I keep doing this today? Yeah. Shouldn't you not say there should be some sort of system? He's a 10 and I'm a -4? Answer is no. No. Because in the eyes of God, there ain't no better, there ain't no worse. It's not your business. You're as valuable as somebody else's. It's an amazing, amazing lesson. There is no system of better or worse in the eyes of God. And here, it's not just, oh, let's be nice to everybody, put it on the refrigerator. No, I'm going to die for that. I can prove that I'm better than that person. I can prove it. Sorry. You don't know how God judges. You don't know where you came from, where he came from, you don't know how much it is. You're not shaken by this? I'm shaken by this. But I do it.
How come in the desert when there's only enough water for one?
Yeah.
Drink it and
Yeah. No, because you're not doing the killing. You're being a Sheva al Taseh. That's Chayecha. That, by the way, a pasuk. We'll do it in 2 weeks with God's help. Yeah, that's Chayecha Kodem. Chai achicha imcha, Chayecha Kodem. But I'm not doing the act. I'm not doing it. Everybody got that? That's a big deal. And therefore, we like to say that success is not measured by what you do compared to what others. It's measured by what you do with the ability that God gave to you. Oh my gosh, it's too long. Okay, everybody got that? That's a very big lesson you should share in terms of how we judge other people. You never know. Right. I want you to know that I remember early flat when I started. And again, I'm not here to, okay. So I was invited to somebody's house Friday night, somebody in the Jewish community in the area, and he was a retailer, and it was an early Friday, early Shabbat, and I come and he's not home yet. Okay, so we wait. An hour later, car pulls up, he gets out, the son gets out, come home, Shabbat Shalom. Go wash up, pray our beads, it's like weird. And we sit down with a beautiful meal. Okay, that person today is, I don't know, is there a color stronger than black on black? I don't know how that works. He's like so right wing, he's off the chicken, gone, okay? I told somebody that person at that point in his life, in my opinion, is higher than I am when it comes to Shabbos. Not even a question. Where was I ever challenged when it came to Shabbat? Ever? I don't own an iPhone. I don't have a challenge. All my friends were Shomer Shabbos. My parents were Shomer Shabbos. If I would not be Shomer Shabbos, I wouldn't have a social life. But the person who started by only working Friday night and not working on Shabbat, or doing other things, lessons, do the malacha a little less. So he's on Mechal Shabbos. I can see where he's so much higher than I am. I don't know how this works. Somebody who's in a wheelchair and tries to get to shul, you don't think his challenge is much bigger than it takes 4 hours to get to shul? They both end up praying the same prayer. You're going to say it's the same thing? How can you say it's the same thing? That person's challenging. Okay, not this one. Yeah, okay. All right, which allows me, I was waiting all week to find the excuse to do something that I do every year, and it's one of my favorite, and I couldn't because we didn't have class that week. So I'm sort of cheating. So we just said that every soul is important. So this is beautiful. Yeah, you can share this. Just the beginning is a little weird, so you'll decide, then you let me know. So it's Ahare. What didn't we have class for? Tazria Mitzorah, right? Tazria Mitzorah. Everybody knows what is the most biggest topic in Tazria and Mitzorah, that's 2 weeks ago, is Mitzorah. Tzara comes from, leprosy comes from. All right, so it's all about Lashon Hara. We always talk about Lashon Hara another time, maybe next week, but it's all about, somebody gets it's not really leprosy, it's whatever it was. Very nice. Tazria. What's the root word of Tazria? What is Zera?
seed.
Yeah. Having bambinos. What does that have to do with Sarat and Lashon Hara? It's a great question. I'm so excited to be able to do this. So again, look at the bottom. If a woman conceives, she has a baby, the boy is more than the girl, the girl's more than the boy. We'll talk about this some other time, not that I don't want to, there's a good reason. I can tell you today. Watch. And it's not only that a woman has a baby. What do they say? Well, why is it here? Because when a woman has a baby, what happens? She has to what? She's tzmeah, right, for X amount of days. She's tzmeah for X amount of days. Okay, let me do this without being embarrassed. You look at Rashi, I don't have it. Rashi says that a woman is tzmeah even if she doesn't have any need to be tzmeah. Do you understand what I just said? Good. Everybody got it? Good. So why is she tzmeah? But the other question is, what does that have to do with tzara? Why are you starting? And it's called tzmeah mitzvah. Okay, next page. So ready? Yeah, and then that was chapter 12, and chapter 13 starts mitzvah. So what's the catch? Why is a woman tzmeah? So there are two reasons. The first one is not the one that I wanted to say, but the first one itself is a mind blower. You ready? The passage from the womb incurs tumah because it is much like the passage from life to death. Yehuda Chassid explains why a tahara ritual is done for a dead person by comparing death to birth. Just as at birth, the first thing we do is watch the child, so too at death here, the first thing we do is watch the child that's going into the next world of existence. And there is much, and I don't have it here, but I've done this before in this class, there's much talk about comparing that's our first life, and this is our second life, and then there's a third life. Isn't that crazy? Fine. So therefore, there's tumah, right? There's tumah because when somebody dies, there's tumah. So they're dying in this world, and they move to the next world. So there too, the child died or ended that first existence and went to the second existence. I mean, that nice? I mean, not nice. Got it. That answers why there's tumah. That does not answer why it starts Tazriyah Mitzorah. You guys with me still? You have to enjoy my most exciting thing. Okay, here we go. Ready? Okay. Tum'ah. Okay. What is the highest, the most extreme, there are different levels of tum'ah. What's the most extreme, deepest tum'ah is a dead body. Why? Okay. Oh, yeah, female. Do you know that they call a dead body a halal? A halal. What word sounds like halal? Chilul. Oh, nice. Chilul. Good. How about a musical instrument? Why is a khalil called a khalil? Because it's hollow. Because there's nothing inside. Why is Chilul Shabbos called Chilul Shabbos? Because you're taking away the kedusha. There's no beauty. And why is a dead body called a halal? Because he's just a hollow piece of flesh. So why is that tumah? Why is it tumah? So what do I learn from this? When there's a presence of God, and then all of a sudden what? The presence leaves, there is a vacuum. So when there's a vacuum, tumah comes. Sold?
Yes.
Say it again?
Yes.
Say it again. The body had a soul. That's God. That's the presence of God. Now, it's hollow. So now that there was a kedusha, and the kedusha left, that hollowness, that vacuum causes tumah. So presence of God, exit of God equals tumah. Sold? Yes. And where am I going? Because where is there a tremendous presence of God in this world? When the baby is born, girl. That's gone. That's gone. That's God putting himself into that child. And therefore, there's a greater presence of God. And now that the God's presence left, not that Hashem is there, Hashem is everywhere. But there's always, right, I can prove that. Easy. 9 people, 9 Moshe Rabbeinos. Can I say Kaddish? Nope. 10 Tuli Bessers, I can say Kaddish. Because somehow 10 brings a bigger presence of Shekhinah. Gemara says. Kotzah, holy place, okay. MUJ, holier. What makes MUJ holier than the Kotzah? MUJ not as holy because it's such a thing as a bigger presence of God. So when there's a big presence of God and then there's a thing, right? Then it's Tumah. No, finish this for me. So where do we start the Parsha of Lashon Hara with? By telling you that every single human being is the presence of God. How dare you say something to hurt that person? And that's the intro. The intro to the Torah is, you know that line. Do you know who you're talking to? Okay, I have a lot to say about this, but it is over time. We're going to be rated by freshmen. But do you understand that? So why am I saying this? I had a connection. So I wanted to say this. So this goes right back to what we said before, which is what? That you can't judge a person, right? I can say, I'm sure you guys know this because you're so kind of go, you know, I've said this, you know, some say, totally, you know, you're saying Lashon Hara. No, it's a mitzvah to say Lashon Hara about that person. I made it into a mitzvah, you understand? Because he's such an idiot, I should say that. No. Who are you judging? Who says that person's more of an idiot than you are? I don't know. You get the idiot part also. Everybody got it? Okay. It's over, guys. The pain is over. Thanks, guys. Next week, we'll lead Neders. Don't forget, tonight Yom HaShoah, next Wednesday night Yom HaTzmaut. Okay?